It's 6:47 on a Tuesday morning. Your phone buzzes once 3 words from a coworker, nothing dramatic. But your chest tightens before you finish reading them, your jaw locks without permission, and somewhere underneath the irritation, a tired voice asks the question you've asked 100 times. Why do I always do this? But psychology tells a completely different story. What feels like an overreaction is actually a timing problem. 2 different parts of you respond to that text, and they are not on the same clock. Once you know which one moves first, the pattern stops looking like a flaw. Trait 1. Your body reacts to a buzz before your mind finishes the sentence. When a signal reaches your brain, a buzz, a tone, a facial expression, it splits. One copy takes a fast, crude shortcut straight to your amygdala. The other takes a slower route through your cortex, where it actually gets analyzed for meaning. The fast copy can trigger your body's response before the slow copy has even finished being processed. And here's the strange part: that fast pathway isn't smart. It doesn't read the sentence. It doesn't know the coworker is joking. It just reacts to pattern, buzz, urgency, tone. Your body isn't broken for responding before you've consciously understood anything. It's running a shortcut built for physical danger, still firing on modern inputs it was never designed to sort through. Think about that text again. By the time your eyes reach the 3rd word, your jaw is already tight. That's the fast copy finishing its job before your reading brain even got there. But speed alone doesn't explain why the same text barely bothers someone else. That's where it gets personal. Trait 2. Every warning sign gets read through a lens built from what you already survived. Underneath your awareness, your nervous system is constantly scanning the room for safety and danger. Tone of voice, pace of typing, the rhythm of a silence. And that scanner isn't factory set. It's been quietly recalibrated by every version of danger you've ever actually lived through. If you grew up reading a parent's mood before they said a word, that scanner learned that tone shifts fast and matters immediately. It lowered its threshold. Not because something is wrong with you, but because at some point, noticing early was the only thing that kept you safe. That sensitivity isn't a flaw in the system. It's an accurate record of what you once needed to survive. Maybe it was a kitchen, a certain silence right before a door closed too hard. You learned, without ever deciding to, that the 3 seconds before someone speaks can matter more than what they actually say. That's not you being dramatic today. That's a system that once had good reason to listen that closely, still listening. If any of this is starting to sound familiar, stay with me. The next part explains something even stranger about where that reaction actually lives. And if you've never had someone put language to this before, this is exactly the kind of thing we unpack here every few days. You might want to subscribe before you keep going. Trait 3. Silence lets your body run a pattern it was never asked to explain. Your body doesn't need to remember what happened to you. It only needs to recognize the pattern. A certain exhale, a particular kind of silence, the way someone's voice drops half a step before it gets sharp. Your nervous system files these as physical sequences, not narratives, and it can execute the sequence perfectly without you recalling a single detail of where it came from. And here's the strange part. That pattern is often more accurate than your conscious memory ever was. It just never learned how to explain itself. This is why I don't even know why that upset me makes complete sense. The memory was never meant to be told. It was meant to be run. You might not remember the specific afternoon that taught your body this pattern. You just know that a certain clipped fine from someone you love can flatten your whole afternoon, for reasons you couldn't explain even if someone asked you to. Nothing is wrong with your memory. Your memory simply isn't the part that's answering. And there's something quietly relieving in that. The reaction you've spent years being embarrassed about was never proof that you're too much. It was proof that your body was paying close attention when it actually mattered. And once your body has already reacted, your mind still has a job to do, just not the one you'd expect. Trait 4. Your mind builds the reason after your body has already decided. The appraisal, the part of you that decides what something means, is slower than the part that decides you're in danger. So your mind builds a story after the fact to make sense of a reaction that already happened without its permission. I guess I'm just tired. I don't know, it just got to me. That story isn't a lie. It's just not the whole truth. It's biology working in the correct order. Protect first, explain second. And here's what nobody tells you about that. The explanation can change completely from one day to the next, while the reaction underneath it stays exactly the same. You snap at a comment that, an hour later, doesn't even seem worth snapping at. So you go looking for a reason, because a reaction without a reason feels unbearable. I guess I'm just stressed. I didn't sleep well. Sometimes that's true, but often it's a story built backward, stitched together to explain a decision your body already made without asking your permission. Which is also why calming down never happens on command, and that has nothing to do with willpower. It has everything to do with which part of your brain is actually available to you in that moment. Trait 5. The calmer part of you goes quiet exactly when you need it the most. The part of you that regulates, that talks you down, that finds perspective, is a slower, more effortful system than the one that reacted. And under real stress, that slower system doesn't just move slowly. It gets partially taken offline because your body is prioritizing survival circuits over careful thought. Trying to reason with yourself in that exact moment isn't a failure of willpower. You are, quite literally, waiting for a different part of your brain to come back online. That's why just calm down has never once worked on you. You weren't refusing to be reasonable. The part of you built for reasoning had temporarily stepped back to let the faster part handle what it believed was an emergency. Trait 6. The timing you've been ashamed of was never the problem. Somewhere along the way, you started treating the speed of your own reaction as evidence that something is wrong with you. As if a calmer person would have felt less, noticed less, needed less time to catch up. But every nervous system on Earth runs this same sequence, body first, mind second. Yours simply runs it with more data, because at some point in your life, being slow to notice actually cost you something. That isn't a flaw in your wiring. That's your wiring doing exactly the job it was trained to do, with the evidence it was given. And here's the part that's easy to miss. The shame was never coming from your body. It was coming from comparing your timing to a system that was handed a completely different set of instructions. The people who seem to react, normally, aren't running a better system. They're usually running one that was never handed the same evidence yours was. You were never broken. You were built differently, with a body that learned to answer before your mind finished the question. That's the real answer to why do I always do this? You were never doing anything wrong. You were just running on the fastest system you had because, for a long time, that was the only way to stay safe. Which part of this felt like you, the fast body, the delayed explanation, or the part that spent years judging your own timing? Tell me in the comments.